Engineer's arsenal is near perfection. It would be perfect if these 3 unlocks didn't exist. Southern Hospitality and Pumpson 6000 are the engine's only 2 bad weapons, and they're frankly not that fun to use. And then we have the exception where his 3rd weapon is frankly broken, overpowered and not that fun to go against. And that weapon is Frontier Justice. What the hell was Valve smoking when they made this thing? I'm joking, it's actually the Wrangler. I wasn't originally really planning to talk about Wrangler, as I kind of made the engineer balance video so I could talk about weapons that I thought have been covered many times already, so I could just likely mention my thoughts on them and suggest the balances as I always do with these videos. But after talking about Engine's other weapons, I thought that maybe I could talk about Wrangler, as I have broken the mindset of not talking about weapons that have been covered many times before. Plus, I kind of have run out of ideas on what I could talk about Engineer, and trust me, I do want to talk about my main whenever I can, so if it means talking about an unlock that everyone and their mother has covered before, then sure, I'll happily give my talks on it as well. But before we do, I just want to thank you all for helping me reach 3000 subscribers in just 2 months. It took me years to get 1k, 1 year to reach 2k, and now this? It's honestly amazing how fast you people helped me get here. Seriously, thank you, you're all amazing. Now, let's get back to Wrangler, why it's more busted than my alcoholism. I'm sure all of you know how Wrangler works by now, but I do want to cover its stats and functionality as I have done with all of the other weapons. You take manual control of your sentry, so you control when it shoots and who it shoots. It has an auto aim built in like you will see in consoles, so you don't necessarily need to have an amazing aim to use this thing. When Wrangler is equipped, the sentry gains a shield that resists 66% of all damage it receives. But it also receives 66% less ammo and repairs, making it so you have to whack it a couple more times to really restore its ammo and health. It also doubles the fire rate, making the sentry even deadlier than it already was. And once you switch weapons, the sentry is disabled for 3 seconds and after that returns back to its normal functionality. Wrangler was added to the game with the release of Engineer update that came out July 8, 2010. So this weapon is officially now 14 years old. It had quite an interesting exploit where you could build level 3 mini sentries with it. The bug was fixed October 8, but on 19th of October they fixed it again, with the patch saying they fixed it for real this time. It has received surprisingly few patches like reduction for the accuracy of the aim assist, sentry bullets now having damage fall off outside of sentry scan range, calculating damage based on where the sentry is, and added that 66% ammo and repair penalty when its shield is active. Wrangler has a reskin called Giger Counter which was added in the Invasion update, and if you think paying $23 for a unique version of a reskin is expensive, then you better hold your jaw as its strange varieties are a whopping $150. I love strange weapons and cosmetics, but I think I'll avoid this reskin for obvious reasons. Wrangler is a rather fun and unique unlock. You trade your sentry's auto-aiming for manual control that makes it deadlier. I would like to say that it's always a pain when the enemy is out of your reach and tries to snipe your sentry from a safe distance, but with this I can pressure them to back off and let me breathe a bit easier. Especially in maps that have huge sightlines, being able to kill the enemy or force them to retreat makes you breathe slightly easier when you can keep your nest up longer. I do want to point out that your sentry deals a lot less damage at further ranges, so while you aren't going to get too many kills with it, it's still pretty decent damage if your opponent doesn't take the hint to go away. I especially love to use Wrangler to get to places I normally won't be able to reach to. If you have level 3 sentry, you can blast yourself with the rockets to reach inaccessible places or just get to places faster. Your sentry shoots 4 rockets, so you get much higher than Soldier can with his rocket launcher. You don't even need level 3 sentry if you want to reach a location that is just slightly out of your reach, as you can get there by shooting yourself with bullets. It doesn't offer as much knockback and can be a bit tricky to use during the heat of the battle, but it's a much quicker option. All of these things will make Wrangler a fairly fun side grade, but that shield really tips it from fun but fair unlock to outright broken. 66% damage reduction is a lot. With it, your sentry turns from already strong area of denial to a fucking tank. Level 3 sentry has normal health of 216, but with Wrangler its effective health increases to 648. This all won't be too bad if it required some skill from engineer's part. Normally, if people want to take down a sentry nest, they have to coordinate with their team, maybe get an Uber that usually takes 40 seconds to a minute to build until you have to communicate with your pocket to aim for the sentry. But the engineer just needs to press 2 on his keyboard to get 600 HP for his sentry. The obvious skill difference is just too unfair, and I know most of you despise mini sentries, so how do you feel about mini sentry that has effectively 300 HP, the same amount as heavy but as the size of a fucking Fumo? Engineer needs to stay weak, as he can easily cause stalemates and through that slow down the game to the point that it's not fun anymore for the players and people watching. And you can't argue that going against 6 engineers on Dust Bowl isn't fun. Thankfully, Wrangler is a bit more manageable in casual, as Uber pair can shoot the sentry and 10 more people can just go fuck the engineer up. But this becomes a major problem as the player count goes down, as Wrangler is banned in most of the comp scenes because it again is unbalanced skill exchange and slows down the games. But in certain comps it's actually allowed, and in some cases it's the only reason why NC will build his sentry and not mainly stick with his other buildings. This kind of came as a surprise to me, as I did ask some people about their thoughts on the weapon, and generally people agreed that it needs a nerf or a rework, but in a few settings it makes NC viable. I could argue that because the weapon has stayed the same for so long and allows him to be played on certain settings, we shall leave it at that, but even as a NG main, I must also accept that Wrangler is a problem and needs to be changed for the enjoyment of the majority. So with quite many people's ideas, and personally the idea that I agree the most upon is just to remove the shield. It can keep the auto aim and 2 times faster firing rate, but that damage resistance needs to go. But obviously removing such a powerful mechanic will make the weapon weak, so let's add something more fun. You take no damage from your sentry, so that means you remain unharmed when you decide to rocket or bullet jump. It will mean that you could become more mobile, being able to go to new places without putting yourself at risk too much, and if that said Uber pair appears, you can just launch yourself away and potentially make really cool sentry saves. I will then remove the 3-second inactivity and voila! That's how I will change Engineer's most broken weapon. I do not claim that this rework will be perfect, obviously it will make Engineer weaker, but I think having 3 secondaries for different purposes will be a neat idea. You could have a pistol for damage, short circuit for utility and Wrangler for mobility. And trust me, I prefer weapons that are more fun, so having this rework will make flying NG a more viable strategy, as it's easier to kill enemies when you aren't below 50 HP after rocket jumping. But if you do have a better solution to this Wrangler problem, or just want to give your own thoughts on the unlock, make sure to comment them down below. I again just want to thank you all for helping me reach 3k subs. It's still an unreal feeling that people actually consider you as their favorite YouTuber and actively look forward to your new upload. I do want to mention that video making is now slightly more complicated, as I sent my main PC to be repaired and this substitute PC doesn't really run too well, but it's better than nothing and hopefully I can still continue making videos for you all to enjoy. So, I want to thank you for watching. Do leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Again, comment down below with your own thoughts regarding Wrangler and have a wonderful day.